We turn now to the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. has assembled what is, by some measures, the biggest military buildup in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq, as the world's largest warship also heads towards the region. But President Trump has said he'd prefer a diplomatic deal with Iran. For the latest, we go now to Tehran and the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi. Welcome to Face the Nation.
Well, thank you, Margaret. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
So do you believe President Trump plans to strike Iran, or is he using this threat as leverage?
Well, I'm not, I cannot judge, but one fact is there that if they want to find a resolution for Iran's peaceful nuclear program, the only way is diplomacy. And we have proved this in the past, and I believe that still there is a good chance to have a diplomatic solution, which is based on a win-win game, and a solution is at our reach. So there is no need for any military buildup, and military buildup cannot help it and cannot pressurize us.
Well, you said on Friday that you would have a draft proposal within 2 to 3 days. Have you gotten the Supreme Leader to sign off on that proposal yet? And if so, when will you give it to Envoy Steve Witkoff?
Well, we are still working on that. And we are trying to make it something which consists of elements which can accommodate both sides' concerns and interests. And we are working on those elements. And I believe that when we meet, probably this Thursday in Geneva again, we can work on those elements and prepare a good text and come to a fast deal. This is my understanding. I see it quite possible.
So you have confirmed a meeting with Steve Witkoff Thursday in Geneva, but your leadership has still not signed off on the proposal. Is that right?
But these are two separate things. Of course, we continue our negotiation. At the same time, we are working on the elements of a deal and a draft of the text. So I hope that when we get there, we are prepared to talk and negotiate on those drafts.
Well, let me ask you this. You helped negotiate that 2015 nuclear deal under the Obama administration. How would this deal with Trump be different than that one? Well,
10 years have passed, and there is a new situation. Our nuclear program has advanced technologically, more advanced at that time, and there are, of course, more sanctions and more pressures. So I believe that a better deal than JCPOA or 2015 nuclear deal is possible. There are elements that could be much better than the previous deal.
Like what?
I have the experience. I have the experience of that deal, as you said. I negotiated that deal. We went into so many details, but I think right now there is no need for that much details. We can agree on basic things, and we can make sure that Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and would remain peaceful forever, and at the same time, more sanctions would be lifted.
Well, just very quickly, you're talking about nuclear. You are offering a nuclear-only deal at this stage because Secretary Rubio said anything meaningful would also have to involve ballistic missiles and your support for proxies in the region.
Well, right now, we are negotiating only nuclear, and there is no other subjects.
Okay. Would you be willing to allow weapons inspectors unfettered access to your nuclear sites and for American inspectors to be among them?
Well, we are a committed member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we have a safeguard agreement with the agency, International Atomic Energy Agency, and we are ready to cooperate with the agency in full, according to the safeguard, and we may accept, with certain conditions, the additional protocol to the safeguard, to the NPT, and I think a full verification mechanism, full monitoring mechanism is acceptable and can be in place.
Okay, so you continue to say that your nuclear program is peaceful, and you know there are a lot of skeptics around the world, including in the United States Congress. There's pressure on President Trump from within his own party. There were 52 Republican senators, 177 House Republicans who have called on President Trump to demand zero enrichment and full dismantlement of your nuclear program. Why should President Trump consider allowing Iran to have even the smallest bit of enrichment?
Well, first of all, enrichment is our right. We are a member of NPT, and we have every right to enjoy a peaceful nuclear energy, including enrichment. How we use this right is something related to us only. The enrichment is a sensitive part of our negotiation. The American team know about, they knows our position, we knows their position, and we have already exchanged our concerns. And I think a solution is achievable, but I'm not going to negotiate through media.
No, I understand, but we have seen very public statements from the president that he said no enrichment, and that's a red line. But when you say it's your right, okay, but you could get enriched uranium and buy it from someplace else. You know this. You've done this. Is demanding the right to enrich on Iranian soil really worth the risk right now? You're facing the potential destruction of your country and the regime based on the kind of military buildup we're looking at.
Well, I think as a sovereign country, we have every right to decide for ourselves, by ourselves. We have developed this technology by ourselves, by our scientists, and it's very dear to us because we have paid a lot. We have paid a huge expense for that. We have been on the sanctions for at least 20 years, and we have lost our scientists, and we have had a war because of that. So that is now a matter of dignity and pride for Iranians, and we are not going to give it up. There is no legal reason to do that. While everything is peaceful, while everything is safeguarded by the agency, while we had an agreement in the past when we remained fully committed to that, and it was the U.S. who just withdrew with no justification. Yeah. So we are a committed member of NPT. We want to use our right. We want to have our right and to exercise that.
But you understand this could be make it or break it for you here. I mean, look, your air defenses were largely demolished by Israel this past summer. They dominate your military. They killed the leader of your most powerful proxy in Hezbollah. The United States bombed your underground nuclear facilities. Your economy is in shambles right now. So why do you think the regime could even survive unless you give this up?
Well, that is not the case. When you talked about the air defense and the war we had with Israel, yes, we had problem with our air defense, but the Israelis had also problem with their air defense, and our missiles were able to hit targets inside Israel. So they started the war, but after 12 days, they asked for a ceasefire, unconditional ceasefire. Why? Because they couldn't defend themselves against our missiles. So we have a very good capability of missiles, and now we are even in a better situation than previous war. So as a matter of fact, we are in a powerful position to defend ourselves. We know how to defend ourselves. We did it in 12-day war, and we are fully prepared to repeat that if necessary.
Well, respectfully, Israel has air superiority over Iran, but let's talk about what you are saying in terms of your...
Our missiles have also superiority over the space of Israel. They can hit their targets. They hit their targets in a very exact way, and they can do it again.
Okay, well, there are 40,000 American personnel in the Middle East right now. In Iran's letter to the UN Security Council, you seem to threaten them because you said America will bear full responsibility. You said you don't want war, but if that's what happens, all bases, facilities, and assets of the hostile force in the region will be legitimate targets. Are you saying Iran will hit U.S. bases in the Gulf, or will you also bomb the Gulf countries that are your neighbors?
Well, I'm not going to say what we are going to do exactly. Obviously, we defend ourselves. If the U.S. attacks us, then we have every right to defend ourselves. If the US attacks us, that is the act of aggression. What we do in response is the act of self-defense. So, and it is justifiable and legitimate. So our missiles cannot hit the American soil. So obviously, we have to do something else. We have to hit, the Americans' base in the region. That is a fact. I am a diplomat. I'm not supposed to talk about, our military plans. But what can I say is that why we should go for war when there is every possibility for a peaceful solution.
Mr. Foreign Minister, I have more questions for you, but I am out of time here. We are going to watch this diplomacy very carefully to see what happens in the coming days. Thank you for joining us.